And let's go to area code 814. What you got for me tonight? You're on the air with the Schlegdaddy.
Hey, can you hear me?
What's going on? Yes, I can hear you indeed.
Well, it's Piznick64, the future of the IWC.
Well, there you go, putting yourself over. What you got for me, Piznick?
I got a couple questions. Actually, I have three. One pertaining to Daniel Bryan, and one pertaining Triple H, and one just a random question. My Daniel Bryan question is, I just don't understand why they don't want to just take the risk of putting Daniel Bryan as the John Cena role, as the top guy in the company, because when I look at it, is the kids love him. Everyone loves him. He's the most over guy in the company right now. He has a whole bunch of T-shirts coming out of nowhere. Like every other week, he has a different one, and I just don't see it. Like, I just don't see why they can't just maybe like he can be that transitional guy until Roman Reigns becomes the top guy. Kind of like after Hogan was the top guy for so long, then Bret Hart became the guy for a little bit, then Austin. They could do it that same way, like that. Your thoughts on that?
Well, as far as Daniel Bryan, when we talk about over, I always put that qualifier in there that he's the most over with the live event audience, in particular in terms of participation. He's the most unanimously over babyface. However, you have to keep this in mind. The WWE, when they're talking about over, they're talking about it in terms of ratings. They're talking about it in terms of the old pay-per-view buys. They're talking about it in terms of merchandise sales, where John Cena still reigns supreme. Now, we could talk about that being because he's been pounded into that spot for many years, and he's a safety net for them, and that's absolutely true. And even though John Cena is in his mid-30s now, I believe he's 37 this year, he's not going to be in that top spot forever. At some point in time, it's going to have to be about somebody different. I just see Vince McMahon wanting to play it safe, not rocking the boat too much, and still saying that he's not 100% sure that Daniel Bryan is all the way over, and he doesn't feel that it's a justifiable risk at this point to sit there and go all the way with him. That doesn't mean I agree with it, but if you're asking me Vince's perspective and the WWE's perspective of why they wouldn't do it, they still see Cena as the clear runaway winner in terms of merchandise sales. They still see him drawing much more in terms of ratings than the Daniel Bryan, and these things are true. So they just can't justify the risk of going all the way with Daniel Bryan, whether that's right or wrong. And they're living in this reality that they've created because they are a publicly traded entity on the New York Stock Exchange, that they are about pleasing the shareholders first and foremost and producing a great dividend, and that leads to them being about month to month and week to week, frankly. It's not about 6 months a year, 5 years down the road. And if it was about that, even 2 to 3 years down the road, they would put all their eggs in the Daniel Bryan basket and make him, like you said, kind of that transitional Bret Hart type of top guy for the next 2 or 3 years, until a Roman Reigns or a Bray Wyatt or whoever the heck else might come along would be ready. I just don't see him doing that. Now, what was your question about Triple H?
No, I've been watching your show probably since mid-2011, probably when that Randy Orton Sucks video came out.
Oh, boy.
No,
yeah.
and you've always called Triple H God, and everyone's starting to call him God, but I always say I don't believe he is God. I always believe Undertaker's God, because not only that he beat Triple H 3 times, he has beaten every member except Sheamus in the Breakfast Club, and he is undefeated in the place of the Immortals, WrestleMania. And I'm just like, I don't know why people call Triple H God when Undertaker has successfully defeated every member of Breakfast Club, even Hulk Hogan.
Well, when you look at it, and I'll sit there and say this to you, is I get kind of what you're getting at. However, keep this in mind. It's not Undertaker that's banging the boss's daughter, Paul Levesque. It's Triple H. It's not Triple H that was able to be a part of the Clique, survive the curtain call, become a huge star, get pounded into a top spot year after year after year. It was Triple H. It was Triple H that was the face of Evolution. It was a Triple H that was the founder of the Breakfast Club. It was a Triple H that was incessantly pounded down your throat and very rarely would actually put anybody over for a long period of time. And in fact, I would argue in a lot of ways buried a lot of individuals where an Undertaker actually helped out other talent and put other guys over and put them on the map. When I call Triple H, God, it's partially, obviously, a derogatory term because it's to reference the size of the man's ego, an ego that I do not feel that The Undertaker possesses. I feel that The Undertaker understands that ultimately it's important to do what's best for business, whereas Triple H ultimately feels what's best for business is best for Triple H's business and best for himself. And that's one of the key distinctions. This is an interesting question to bring up, though. But no, Triple H is still God. And it fits with the whole mantra of the Breakfast Club, so let's not screw that up, brother. And your last question for me?
Well, since I've listened to all your blog talk radios, and I see that there's been in the YWC, it's building up a little bit that your one gimmick, I can't remember what it's called, the Daniel Bryan fanboy one.
Marcus Smart.
Yes, that one.
Mm-hmm.
I see a little feud between that and the Lex fan. And then your Randy Orton gimmick, I see there's a few going on, but what about the Schlegdaddy himself? Does he have anyone to feud with? Because if there's not, then I'll throw down the challenge.
No, when that stuff gets done with like Marcus Smart and the Blue Borton, that I actually feel is fun. Me doing feuds and that type of stuff, I don't feel is that much fun, frankly. I don't really feel like it helps either party involved because ultimately one side thinks they win, the other side thinks they win, and everybody kind of wins and everybody kind of loses. No feuds for the Schlegdaddy unless they're unavoidable. I think I piss off, and I think I feud with enough people, frankly, just sometimes in the way I carry myself and the way I conduct myself and the way I talk in some of the videos that I do, frankly. I don't know if that's necessarily something that gets reserved for any one person or individual, though. But I love the fact that Piznick64 was wanting to step up to the plate and take on the big dog. You're a good man, sir. Hopefully your Steelers have a better season in 2014.
Oh, God. They just got rid of Sanders. They got rid of Woodley. I think they're doomed. They're the next Cleveland Browns. I don't have any hope for them anymore.
I think you might be right. Thanks for calling in, my man. And that, ladies and gentlemen, my phone's got about 25 seconds before it's cut off. We'll wrap it up for this edition of the OTRSCentral podcast. Thanks to my guest, Antoine Moore. Thanks to David and Piznick64 and everybody that called in. I appreciate it. Thanks for listening. We'll do this again Wednesday night, 9 p.m. Eastern. I'll give you more details on who's going to appear and what the subjects are. Let me know what you thought on Twitter at OTRSCentral. Go like the new Facebook page. Just type in the search OTRSCentral on Facebook to check it out. I appreciate all of you guys listening. This is a lot of fun. I'm enjoying this podcast thing, and hopefully it'll only get better as we go along. Thanks again for tuning